So yesterday, EG played against Loud in the first game in VCT Americas of 2025, and it was overall a pretty close game. Of course, Ye is now on EG, and in the first map of Split, Ye was playing on Chamber, and everyone's like, the GOAT is back, right? He's back where he belongs on this Chamber role. And whilst it wasn't like 2022 Ye, where he was completely taking over on Chamber, he had a pretty decent game. Ultimately, EG would end up losing in overtime, but they did lose both pistols. They were probably the better team on Split and probably felt like they should have won. And Ye, as I said, played pretty well. But then came map 2. And on map 2, it was Pearl, and Ye was playing on Phoenix. Now, Phoenix on Pearl in and of itself is not necessarily crazy. We have seen other teams do it before, most notably, of course, Paper Rex. And of course, one of the main things you can do with Phoenix on Pearl is, particularly when you're on the attacking side, both of the attacking ult orbs are somewhat free to get for the attackers if you want to prioritize that. And of course, Phoenix, with only a 6 cost ult, which is very strong, you can essentially just keep farming those ult orbs, keep getting the spike down yourself, and, you know, potentially have a lot of ults in your attacking half, and then really use that to propel your attacking half. And that is something that Paper Rex do when Jing is playing on the Phoenix. You will often see him going and grab ult orbs, planting the spike, really trying to farm up that ult. Of course, he's getting kills, he's dying as well sometimes, well, or if Jing, he's dying quite often as well, just going in head first. But he's getting a lot of ult orbs, and he's getting a lot of ults because of that. But when EG and Ye were playing it yesterday, that was not the case whatsoever. And this really annoyed me, because for the most part, this is what Ye's attack side looked like on EG yesterday.
Here again in A main, pressed up against the barriers up both sides here. Here we go, IC comes forward now. Oh, and that util, and Vinny's able to bring him down first, catches him out through the box. Calvin's even ready for any follow-up, it just doesn't come. It's EG down a player.
And Carter ready to swing. This is
that is audacious.
He gets the first. Does he find the timing? No, he should get this free. He does.
Yeah, so in this round, we see EG put a priority on taking A main control. Right, they want to come down here, they want to come and take this space, as we see with the jet dash, and they do end up dying. The ult orb is just here, but Ye's not a part of that, right? We're having 3 people here as a part of this kind of A main take, but our Phoenix isn't part of it, right? And obviously it ends up, you know, not going too well, but even the initial idea, the initial plan that these 3 are going to take A main, but this guy's not going to be a part of it, to me that doesn't make any sense, right? And on top of that, he's just walking in mid on his own, right? He's just completely on his own in mid, and as we see, you know, later on in the round, you know, he does end up getting a kill and dying. So hey, that's 2 ult orbs, right? So, you know, it's not the worst case scenario, but just for me, the plan that we've come up with doesn't make any sense, right? Surely a big part of our game plan is, if we're taking A main, the Phoenix should be a part of that, because one of the objectives should be getting this ult orb for our Phoenix. And this was not just one round that I have cherry picked. I went through the 11 attacking rounds that EG had here. And do you want to know how often Ye farmed ult orbs on his attacking half? Remember, these are 2 ult orbs on this map that are, you know, fairly reasonable gets for the attackers. If you really wanted to, you probably could get both in a round, right? But certainly getting one of them every single round is absolutely on the table. How many ult orbs did Ye get in this entire attacking half of 11 rounds? He farmed 1 ult orb. 1. In the entire 11 rounds. On top of that, do you know how often EG gave Ye the spike to go and plant the spike? 2. Twice. In 11 rounds. He got 3 extra ult orbs than he would have got naturally. What are they doing? Now, some of you might think that I'm being a little bit harsh here on EG and Ye and the way that they utilize their Phoenix, but let's go back to Paper Rex, because I went back to the last time that Paper Rex played Pearl, which was in an off-season game, where they only had 7 attacking rounds because they won every single attacking round against DFM in an off-season tournament. And in that map, in just 7 rounds, so 4 less rounds than EG had, Jing farmed 5 ult orbs, and he was given the spike 4 times to plant. And that was in a lot less rounds than EG had to work with. So clearly, Paper Rex, who I think most of us can agree are one of the best teams in the world, and certainly know what they're doing with the Phoenix on Pearl. They've played it a lot, and it just makes logical common sense that if you're playing Phoenix, that's why you're playing him. Well, when Paper Rex do it, they're farming ult orbs. Jing is doing things that he otherwise would never do. How often does Jing plant the spike for Paper Rex on other maps? Almost never. Right? Almost never. But on Pearl he does, because they're prioritizing the Phoenix ult. And that meant that in 7 rounds, Jing was able to get 3 ults in 7 rounds. And he was only 1 ult orb of having a 4th. So if the round had just, if DFM just would have won any round on their defensive half, Jing would have had 4 ults in 8 rounds. For Ye, he only ended up with 2 in 11 rounds. And that's the thing, I showed you that clip earlier of Ye going to mid. Well, in 7 out of those 11 rounds, Ye went to mid. He's not even going where the ult orbs are. And in one of the few cases where he is starting over towards A main, he's completely on his own and is never going to be able to take this space if there's any sort of pressure coming the other way, right? So there was basically never any chance for him to get the ult orbs. It's like they just didn't prioritize getting the ult orbs whatsoever, which in my opinion, it then begs the question, why on earth are you playing Phoenix? Like, why are you playing this agent if you're not trying to prioritize the ult? And also, this comp that EG were playing is a bit strange anyway, right? Because you would look at this, and I know I did, and think, well, Ye's on Phoenix and Icy is on Jet. Wouldn't that make more sense to be like swapped around? Like, Ye just doesn't necessarily feel like a Phoenix player. You know, it feels more natural for Icy, who has played initiating flashing roles as well, right? And Duelist, that he might be more natural on that. And Ye, obviously being Ye and his history, obviously has played a lot of Jet as well, that these two might be swapped, because that's the thing as well. Ye didn't fully look comfortable on Phoenix. It looked like, you know, he wasn't fully maximizing the role in and of itself anyway. And so early on in this VCT season, and look, it is early on, the teams are still finding out what works, what doesn't work for them. That's all fine. You know, I'm not saying that EG are a bad team or they're going to suck for the rest of the season because of this. I just found this quite frustrating to watch, in my opinion. And I found quite a lot of the things, you know, frustrating to watch from some of the Teos that we've seen that clearly have no idea what they're doing. And, you know, just some of the weirdest comps that you could ever dream up of that don't work in the slightest. You know, there's been some weird stuff early on here in VCT, as there is at the start of every season. But yeah, I just had to make this video because I was a bit annoyed.